Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump, Leonard Leo, and what's next. Trump was incredibly unhappy with the U.S. Court of International Trade's decision. It led him to post a lengthy rant to social media. The media is just going over the most sensational bits, but that might be missing some important context and some insight into what might be coming in the future. Trump's post started by explaining a 3-judge panel blocked his tariffs, and that the appeals court stayed that decision. His post then said, quote, "Where do these initial 3 judges come from? How is it possible for them to have potentially done such damage to the United States of America? Is it purely a hatred of Trump? What other reason could it be?" So, what's the post really about? One of the judges who blocked Trump's tariffs was appointed by Trump, another by Reagan. Trump was ruled against by a panel of judges that had a conservative majority, and the panel completely rejected his arguments. He can't admit the constitutional issues with his tariffs, and doesn't want to take responsibility for appointing the judge who ruled against him. And that brings us to the next part. Quote, "I was new to Washington, and it was suggested that I use the Federalist Society as a recommending source on judges. I did so openly and freely, but then realized that they were under the thumb of a real sleazebag named Leonard Leo, a bad person who in his own way probably hates America, and obviously has his own separate ambitions. He openly brags how he controls judges, and even justices of the United States Supreme Court. I hope that is not so, and I don't believe it is. In any event, Leo left the Federalist Society to do his own thing. I am so disappointed in the Federalist Society because of the bad advice they gave me on numerous judicial nominations. This is something that cannot be forgotten. With all of that being said, I am very proud of many of our picks, but very disappointed in others. They always must do what's right for the country." It seems pretty clear that Trump's interpretation of doing what's right is always siding with him. So who's to blame since the judges didn't side with him? Looks like Leonard Leo. It can't be stressed enough that Leo is an incredibly powerful person, and calling him a sleazebag and suggesting he probably hates America isn't likely to be forgotten. Trump went on to say, quote, "In this case, it is only because of my successful use of tariffs that many trillions of dollars have already begun pouring into the USA from other countries. Money that without these tariffs, we would not be able to get. It is the difference between having a rich, prosperous, and successful United States of America and quite the opposite." Okay, Trump is prone to hyperbole, especially with numbers. But Trump seems to be suggesting that trillions in tariffs are being collected. This is just false. Then we get to the funny part, at least to me. Quote, "The ruling by the U.S. Court of International Trade is so wrong and so political. Hopefully, the Supreme Court will reverse this horrible, country-threatening decision quickly and decisively. Backroom hustlers must not be allowed to destroy our nation. The horrific decision stated that I would have to get the approval of Congress for these tariffs. In other words, hundreds of politicians would sit around D.C. for weeks and even months, trying to come to a conclusion as to what to charge other countries that are treating us unfairly. If allowed to stand, this would completely destroy presidential power. The horrific decision says he needs the approval of Congress for these tariffs. The Constitution explicitly gives the power over tariffs to Congress, not backroom hustlers. Article 1, Section 8. Congress gave the president a tiny bit of power to be used in an emergency. Tariff power rests with Congress, not the presidency. It's important to remember that as Republicans in Congress try to distance themselves from the effects. They could have stopped it at any time. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.